say welcome back to Meech Speaks.
Welcome back to Meech Speaks.
No, Meech Speaks.
Welcome back to 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 Meech Speaks.
I want to say something. A prize, motherfucker.
What's up, everybody? As active duty service members, we've all tried to buy multiple ribbons and devices in anticipation of messing up the ribbon construction process. We found it even more demoralizing paying high prices for mounting services. Luckily, the Perfect Ribbon provides the professional mounting look at a fraction of the cost. They take the hassle out of preparing ribbons so you can put on your uniform. Head on over to the show notes and use my referral code to get 20% off on your next purchase. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Meech Speaks. I'm your host, Demetrius Thigpen, also known as Meech Speaks. Now, do me a favor, before we get started with this episode, head on over to your favorite streaming platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and leave this podcast an honest review, because this podcast deserves to grow just as much as we do. All right, now, I'm going to just go ahead and just keep it a buck real quick. If you do not want to hear me celebrate, you feel me? Like, if you don't want to hear me pat myself on the back, give myself flowers, do me a favor and just skip this first 5 minutes of this episode, and then we'll get straight to business over there. But I really did just hit 10K on Instagram. You know what I mean? And I know that may sound superficial to some people. I know that may sound egotistical to some people. I know that may sound shallow to some people. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I started in 2019, I had no idea that I would get to this point in my journey. I had no idea. And for those who really ain't understanding, I made this podcast after waking up drunk on my patio. I made this podcast and started creating content when I was at my lowest points. And for people to really resonate with a podcast that was dedicated to helping us become a better version of ourselves, even though I did not know what that version was. I just knew we need more sleep. I just knew that we needed more money. I just knew that we needed to become a better version of ourselves in a way that it was just internal to affect the external. I just knew that at some point, some of us just felt like, let me rephrase that. I just knew at some point I was lacking. So I just hopped on a platform and just started sharing my internal thoughts. So to get to this point, man, it really does feel good. You know what I mean? Like, it really does. And there were days where I just was like, bro, I don't want to do this shit no more. There were days where I would look on social media and be like, I don't even resonate with the person who I'm seeing right now. And that person was me. So I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. It really feels good to actually, it really feels good, man. You know what I mean? It really does. And I ain't do it. And the crazy part about the situation is, man, is that I didn't do it off no trends. You feel me? Like, I ain't do it off of no challenges. I didn't do it off of, riding the coattails of somebody else, man. I really did this shit off of my own fucking talent, bro. I really did this off of my own content, bro. Like, I really started with an Android phone that had a foggy camera, screen all cracked up, with a gaming headset, making fucking videos in my car, and it got me to this point right here. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but wherever point you are in your journey, bro, wherever you're at in your journey, I just really want you to understand that your moment gonna come. Because I'd be lying if I said that this shit happened overnight. This was 4 years ago. I started 4 years ago. I would be lying to you if I said that I would look at everybody else's content and ask all the time, like, when is my moment going to come? You know what I mean? Like, when my moment going to come? I'll be lying to you right now if there was moments where I felt like a hater. You feel me? There was moments where I would look at other people's shit and I would say that I'm so much better than them. Why they blowing up? And to have still stuck to my guns, to still stayed authentic, to have pulled myself out of whatever fucking comparison that I had put myself in, that feels good. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this episode. And this episode is all about the things that I've learned since becoming a content creator. All right, so first things first, I'm just gonna go ahead and be 100% with you. A viral video will never amount to talent, consistency, and branding. You feel me? And I don't know who need to hear that one, but a viral video will never equate to talent, consistency, and branding. You feel me? Ain't nothing worse than you do a video on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever social media platform that you're on, and that video blows up. You see what I'm saying? Now it's good if that video already aligned to the niche audience that you were talking to. You feel me? It's good if that video already aligned to the brand that you have established. But if you just so casually just hopped online and a video just went up, you know what I mean? It unknowingly places you in this big ass bubble. And when and before I even get started, will you gain a large following? 100%. You are going to get a large following. I remember one of my videos, it went viral and I got damn near 2,000 followers in a day. And that was a wild thing for me. You see what I'm saying? Luckily, I had already established a brand. You feel me? Luckily, I already knew who I was talking to when I made that video. But so many people will go viral and their videos do not align with what their page was. Hell, they didn't even have all those other things in place. So this video, it went viral and it's bringing in these people, but they not even fucking with the person. You feel me? They not even fucking with the person. Your page becomes a video. You become a fucking trend. You become a challenge. You feel me? And it's a shitty situation because here you are now with this large following, but you don't even know how to serve this community. They just want you to get on fucking line and do challenges and trends. And that ain't even something that you want to do. And I bring that up, man, because I remember back in like 2020, right before COVID hit, you know what I mean? Right before COVID hit, I ended up getting into this speaking program. And it was a couple of people that they had learned some shit from a big time speaker and they wanted to share the things that they had learned. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of problems with it, but I will talk about the one that really stood out with me, and it's something that I always keep in the back of my mind. There was me and this coach, we kept getting into it, and it was because of my following on Instagram. And at the time, I didn't really have a large following. Hell, I had just started podcasting. You know what I mean? And this was actually around the times where I decided to go with the handle of Meech Speaks. And as we're going back and forth, like he keeps suggesting trends, he keeps suggesting challenges, and he gets upset because I'm not trying to do that shit. You feel me? I'm not trying to do any of that because I don't want to be a trend. I don't want to be a challenge. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, well, you in the military, you should be doing those pull-up challenges. I'm like, what? Why? I'm a speaker. Why the fuck am I doing burpees? You know what I mean? Why the fuck am I doing a push-up challenge? Like, why are you trying to push me into this? And he's like, well, your content ain't gonna never blow up, or you're never gonna get in front of the right audience if you don't start doing the things that we're telling you. And I'm like, I think it's best if I leave then. I think it's best that I leave. Because what a lot of people do not understand, man, is that the moment that you fall into this niche, you see what I'm saying? Or you become this trend, you lose who you are. You feel me? How are you trying to establish a community when they know you for just doing the challenge of the month? They know you for just doing the trend. I'm not saying I'm not throwing no shade at anybody if that works for you, but the direction that I was going, that did not work for me. And I feel like I have to say this right here. If you know who you are and you know who you want to talk to and you know what you want to talk about, don't let nobody tell you that this is what you need to be doing. You feel me? Especially somebody that ain't doing the shit that you fucking doing, bro. Like, I really got to keep that a buck, man. Motherfuckers love to give you an opinion on some shit that they ain't never stepped foot in. Motherfuckers will love to give you an opinion on some shit that they too scared to do. A motherfucker will love to give you an opinion on some things that they can never do. So with that being said, man, like, I cannot stress this enough. If you already know what you want to do, don't let nobody talk you out of the vision that you have for yourself. Next, image versus reality. Who you are online, I completely understand that that's probably not you 24/7. But I hope that it's an aspect of you. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is that a lot of people assume that, oh, he's motivational all the fucking time. Bro, I was speaking from a place of depression. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people will generate this whole image of you based off of like 1-minute videos. And the worst part is that you end up becoming this image when that image isn't who you are authentically. You feel me? That's not who you are in real life. And ain't nothing worse than showing up online fake as fuck. You feel me? Ain't nothing worse than showing up online fake as fuck, bro. And I bring that up, man, because if you're fake online, let me rephrase that. If you're fake more than you are real throughout the day, it becomes very draining because now you wear a mask when in places that you should be comfortable at. And it's very easy to get caught up in the social media thing because of the simple fact that, you know, social media only going to be, you know, motherfuckers only going to show you the good. You feel me? They ain't going to show you the moments where they were down in the dumps. They're not going to show you the moments where they had writer's block. They ain't going to show you the moments where they cried or they, let me rephrase that, because one thing I'm not about to do is get on fucking social media and start fucking crying. All right, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if you ever see me on fucking Instagram or fucking TikTok or whatever social media platform and I'm bawling my eyes out, hey, bang my line and take my phone. You feel me? Call me and tell me to put my phone in the drawer because I done hit rock bottom. I'm gonna keep it a buck. But at the exact same time, man, like who you are, you feel me? People will gravitate to who you really are. You feel me? If you develop this fake ass persona, you're going to be surrounded by people who believe in a fake persona of you. These people don't even know you. This community, they believe in a fake alter ego of you. But that's not even, you don't even support that person in real life. You just fake as hell. And the beauty about a mass and a large audience and you were real the entire time is that these people know you. You know what I mean? Like these people you create this certain level of relatability with them. You create this certain level of authenticity about yourself. So I cannot stress this enough, man. Like image versus reality. I ain't telling you to go and get online and share your entire personal life because motherfuckers will scam you. They will use your identity to fucking scam other people. But at the exact same time, if you have to put on a mask to show up on social media, I promise you it's not going to pay in the long run. You are going to end up closing your phone down and being exhausted because you are fake as hell on an app. You fake as hell on an app. And the problem with that is that these people will see you in real life. They will see you in real life. And when they see you and they realize that the person who you are online is not the person who you are offline, now that becomes a bigger issue. You feel me? Especially as military influencers, you know what I mean? Because we hop online and we showing up one way, but that's not how you are at the shop. You know what I mean? Like that ain't how you are in the shop. You Mr. Motivation online, but you a shitbag in the platoon. You Mr. Get my workout plan, but you on fucking light duty. You Mr. Never give up, Mr. Mindset is everything, but you quit all the time. You Mr. Giver Upper. So once again, who you are online and who you are offline, they need to be the same person. You feel me? I'm not saying that, I get it. It could be exhausting. But at the exact same time, bro, like you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the audience and the community that you're building to at least be authentic. All right, now this one's a big one. A large following does not equate to sales. And I'll say that one more time. A large following does not equate to sales. All right, people will get online and they'll see that you got 10K. They'll see that you got 50K. They'll see that you got 100K and assume that you're making a lot of money. And initially, when I first started creating content, I believed that shit too. You see what I'm saying? I was like this, damn, man, he got a lot of followers on Instagram. That motherfucker must got a lot of sponsors. Oh, shit, he got a promo code. Oh, man, that motherfucker must be bringing in a lot of money. I'm not saying that you cannot monetize it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, some social media influencers do make a lot of money. I'm not saying that either. You feel me? because I know a couple who are bringing in some good money from social media. However, I also know a lot of people who are not bringing in a lot of money on social media and are pretending that they do. And when you pretend to do something, people believe that shit for reality. So with that being said, man, I'm just going to go ahead and just explain this to you. There's a big difference between motherfuckers who support you and people who just follow you. All right, and I'll say that one more time. It's a big difference between people who support you and people who follow you. All right, people that support you, they're going to buy your books, they're going to buy your merch, they're going to buy whatever fucking program that you push out because they support you. And in order to build that type of support, it comes from a community. And in order to build that type of community, it comes from a level of authenticity and relationship building that you have to establish early on. This shit just does not, hey guys, I got a shirt, I want y'all to buy it. That's not how that works. When I dropped my book, I really sat back and didn't think that I was going to make a lot of sales. I was just putting out a book to become, because of an event that I was going to. I ended up bringing in 10 times what I had put down on that book. And just to, for everybody to understand, I put down $300 to make the book. The amount of money that I brought back in was crazy because and it made me realize how many people were supporting me. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy because I didn't realize how many people were legitimately supporting me. A good way that keeps me humble with this is that I always look over at the podcast. It's easy to look online and see that you getting, 3,000, 10,000, 300,000 views on a 1-minute video. But if you pulling in those exact numbers somewhere else, then it equates. Also, I cannot stress this enough. Sponsorships and affiliate codes, bro. Just because you see somebody with a sponsor, you know what I mean? Just because you see somebody with a promo code, I cannot stress this enough. It does not mean that they bringing in a lot of money. For those who are not tracking, just like there's small-time social media influencers or content creators, there's a thing called small businesses. And small businesses will reach out to content creators to promote that business. But the thing about that business is that if nobody is willing to buy from that business, then that little promo code that they got, does not mean shit. So I could get 40% off at Brandon's Dick Factory. But if nobody is willing to buy from Brandon, then guess what? I don't make 40%. I don't make a cut from that. You know what I mean? So with that being said, just because you see them with a promo code, just because you see them with sponsorship does not always mean that they're making a lot of money. I'm not saying that they're not making any money. I'm just saying that what you may think that they're bringing in may not actually be the case. Now, one thing that we have to take into consideration, and one thing, and I can't stress this one enough, is that make sure that the people who are sponsoring you aligns with your audience. Just like how I use the example of Brandon's Dick Factory. If your audience is a Christian-based audience, I don't think they're going to be buying from Brandon. You feel me? If you're sponsored by a major burger joint, but you're a vegan content creator, come on now, they ain't going to be buying from that burger joint. So a lot of people are always in a rush to grab some type of sponsorship and get into an affiliate program, but the sponsor does not align with who they are talking to. So in terms, no one's buying from this particular sponsor. Next, and I think this one is, I've been alluding to it throughout the entirety of this episode, but community is everything. All right. Just like what I mentioned earlier, there's a big difference between people who support you and those who actually follow you. You know what I mean? And you are going to find out who really supports you when you start dropping merch, or when you have something like a podcast, or when you have something like a book, or when you have something that is about to go into the physical realm. You're going to find out very fast who supports you. You know what I mean? And just because you have this large following, just like what I said earlier, does not mean that that's what you're about to bring in. My support group was actually bigger than my following at one point, and it was crazy because it was like people who did not even follow me online on social media. They heard that I had bought something, or I had created something, and they bought it in real life. So that meant a lot. But a lot of times, man, like, we get so caught up in just having like this big number, and I'm not saying that from my high horse. Everybody knows that this is your captain from Experienced Airlines flying in. And the thing is that you want to have this large following, but you don't have a community around you. You know what I mean? You haven't created relationships with the people who are supporting you. And I don't know who needs to hear this part right here, man, but don't forget to comment back. Don't forget to answer your DMs. You ain't too fucking famous. People that reach out to you, don't forget to take a little bit of time. I know it can seem hectic, but don't forget to take a little bit of time and say something back, because these people, this is how you build relationships with people. This is how you build relationships, and don't abuse the relationships, because a lot of these people are going to be fucking with you from the very beginning. Speaking of people who are messing with you from the very beginning, I don't know who needs to hear this part right here, but please understand that your family and friends, you know what I mean, they may not jump on initially. You feel me? It's a blessing when they do. It's a blessing when they do. But if you're not making content that resonates with them, how can you expect them to support you? You know what I mean? And it's almost selfish, because you're like, hey, can you share my stuff when what I'm making doesn't even resonate with you? You know what I mean? And you end up developing this bitter relationship, or feeling like nobody is supporting you. Who are you making the content for? You know what I mean? And when you establish this audience, you know that, hey, my mom may not be the person. My mom ain't listening to my podcast. You know what I mean? But somebody else is, and I'm talking to them. I'm not talking to her. So I don't expect my mother to buy like my book. The book may not resonate with my mom. You feel me? The shirt may not resonate with my mom. The podcast may not resonate with my mom. And that's something that a lot of people got to understand. Also, when you are building a community, don't expect people to just automatically hop on to your shit, man, because you're an up and comer, bro. You feel me? And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that we got to put out there, man. Like, people with large followings, man, like, they are very, what's that word? Not stingy. They're very particular who they're going to support, because at the exact same time, they have a community and they have people that are supporting them as well. And who they're reaching out to and supporting, their community is also going to support them. So if you think that you're going to piggyback off of somebody else's community, I'll tell you right now, you're going to be really upset. And also, just to add to this statement right here, be careful what you say online. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy for your words to be misconstrued. And if you get online with a fucking opinion and you are not equipped to talk about that, you just have an opinion on something, understand that there are going to be people in your comments that are going to tear you the fuck up. All right. I recently just saw, who was that? I don't know her name. I ain't even about to lie to you. And I definitely didn't share her content because I ain't supporting it. But, she got on there and she started talking about like pregnant females in the Marine Corps. You feel me? I ain't never seen somebody get sliced and diced like she did online. I ain't never seen somebody get sliced and diced. And it made me realize, like, bro, just because you got an opinion on something, don't get online and start talking out your neck. You see what I'm saying? Do not talk about things that you are not equipped to talk about. And that's and hers pass. Mental health is such a broad thing to talk about, and everybody feels like they are equipped to talk about that. But if you are not certified in that, please be careful with what the things that you say. You feel me? Fitness. Just because you can do a push-up, that don't mean that you fucking a fitness influencer. You feel me? Just because you got a gym membership, that don't mean that. You're going to get online and say the wrong shit, and somebody's going to correct you, and they will expose you. Number 5, focus on yourself. You know, this probably could have been number 1. This probably could have been number 2. I put it at number 5 because, you know, this is something that, you know, it's got to be a reminder. You feel me? To focus on yourself. Comparison is always going to be the thief of joy. And there were so many times where I would look at somebody's content and I would be like, why are they blowing up and not me? You feel me? And that's, I know that's some hating shit to say. But you got to think about it, man. Like, I'm really putting a lot into this and I'm wondering when my moment gonna come. And when I decided to take a step back, and I remember I did it in October. I remember I did it back in October of 2022. I said, like, you know what? Hey, take a look at your page, bro. And who are you talking to? What are you talking about? And what actually aligns with you? And that was one of the biggest moments where I decided to focus on myself. You know what I mean? Like, people say, like, focus on yourself and then just leave it. When you decide to focus on yourself, give yourself some like tracking points so that way you know exactly what points you need to be focusing on. So what I mean by that is that when I rebranded from the podcast called Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind and made it into Meech Speaks, I sat down and I said, what is Meech speaking about? Who is Meech speaking to? You know what I mean? I also said, like, what does your podcast represent? And that's why I came up with 3 pillars of mindset, motivation, and what it means to be human. So by me focusing on myself, that's when I started to put out content with intention. That's when I started to do things with intention. A lot of people are just copying other people's things and thinking that their blueprint is going to be their blueprint for success, not realizing that there's charisma, there's there's so many things that go into why his content was successful that you're missing. So when you focus on yourself, you're able to figure out your personality, how you speak, how you want your content to flow, how with the things that you want to talk about. There's so many aspects of focusing on yourself that we don't talk enough about, and I probably will talk about this in another episode, that really need to be brought up. And lastly, just like what I said in the very beginning, a viral video does not equate to talent, consistency, or branding. A viral video does not mean quit your fucking job. I don't know who need to hear that one right there, man, but a viral video does not mean quit your job. You get 10,000 followers on Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media platform, that does not mean that it's time for you to quit your job and become a full-time content creator. All right? I don't know who need to hear that. And military influencers, I'm talking directly to y'all on this one, because y'all get a viral video and think that it's time to put in your DD-214. You know what I mean? And that ain't even a fucking thing. You a military influencer. You're not a social media influencer. And what I mean by that is that you got to really look at this. And the best example that I can say is like the music industry. You a fucking indie artist. You ain't even signed to a major label yet. You feel me? You had a song that gained a little buzz, and now all of a sudden you think that you about to quit your day job. And the problem is that especially in the military or whoever has a day job, you know what I mean? Your day job is funding your content. You feel me? Your day job is funding this hobby that you have right now. My day job is funding my podcast. My day job paid for the book. My day job paid for my ticket to fly to these events. I can't quit my day job yet. And I've seen so many military influencers flop, bro, because of the simple fact that they said, you know what, the military is now an inconvenience for me and I need to get out there and chase my dreams. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a dangerous thing to do. And I'm not saying don't chase your dreams, but when you have a piss poor exit plan, you can only expect piss poor results. Now you online looking scruffy as hell, looking crazy as hell, trying to talk to an audience that you no longer resonate with. Now you online telling people that you see colors and they ain't resonating with you no more. A lot of us don't realize is that how you show up online is going to determine who you're talking to. So when you get out, man, like if you don't make that transition from one target audience to another target audience while you still have the funds to be able to finance that, you're going to have a hard time out there. And guess what you're going to end up doing anyway? You're going to be finding another fucking day job, bro. You're going to be finding another day job. So I will say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Until your hobby pays more than your primary, let me rephrase that. Until your hobby, right, pays more than your day job, do not quit your day job. Until your hobby pays more than your day job, do not quit your day job. All right? And that may take 3 years. That may take 4 years. Hell, that may take 10 years. But until that hobby actually pays, you feel me? Don't do it. Because now your hobby about to become a real live job and it ain't even equipped to bring in the money that you need in order to sustain it. And I've seen so many people flop because of that. And they get out thinking like, oh man, the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, the grass looked green because that grass was fake. You know what I mean? At least on this side, you knew that this was real grass. At least on this side, you knew that you was going to get paid. Now you suffering. And that may not be for everybody. And I don't want nobody to think that I'm trying to steer them away from it. That may not be for everybody. You know what I mean? You may got something and it's going to be able to get out and you're going to be successful. And I hear that. But for those who are just riding on a hope and a dream, bro, like there's got to be some type of reality to this. And I bring that up as we close out this episode because in 2020, I almost got out thinking that. Podcast was getting a big buzz. I'm booked out. I'm averaging 3 gigs a month. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to get out of the military and focus on this. And as soon as COVID hit, right? Like as soon as COVID hit, All of that went away. All of that went away. And I thought that it was just going to be a month. I thought it was going to be like 2 months. It went away and it stayed away for a year and a half. And the only thing that I could do was just show up on social media. I had not been sponsored, affiliate. I still had that imagination associated to it. And if I would have got out, I would have really put myself in a bad spot. So once again, I'm not speaking from this imaginary high horse. This your captain from Experience Airlines flying in just to tell you that until your hobby pays more than your day job, do not quit it. So with that being said, those were the 6 things that I've learned since becoming a content creator and a military influencer. Do me a favor, if any of those talking points really resonated with you, head on over to Instagram and leave me a message and we could talk more on it. And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoyed making it. Now, do me a favor, if you're on Apple or Spotify, don't forget to leave a 5-star review for this podcast. And lastly, hit that subscribe button because this podcast deserves to grow just as